What's up, guys? It's your girl, Legal Beast, and I'm finally getting to part two. My part two of day two of the Crumbley trial. Now, you guys know I had a mock trial earlier that I was participating in, and then I ran a few little errands, and then my phone died, and here we are. So, I left off discussing the interview of the Crumbleys, James and Jennifer, that was taking place, that they were going over with the testimony of Sergeant Bryant, who was one of the lead detectives on the situation. And essentially went into how I thought that it was just a largely missed opportunity to separate and make the distinction between James Crumbley and Jennifer Crumbley, because throughout the entirety of that not interrogation, because they weren't under arrest and they technically weren't even being detained. They were just trying to find out about Ethan. But it was definitely an interview. So throughout the duration of that interview, essentially it was Miss Crumbley on her phone almost the entire time. And I believe this is also the same time frame that the forensic detective indicated, and this is from Ms. Jennifer Crumbley's trial, that she would have been deleting messages, whether it was messages from Facebook Messenger or her own cell phone. And so it definitely does look like she's not responding to messages, because it doesn't really look like she's texting. She's definitely scrolling and swiping and doing some other stuff on that phone. So I just think it was a big missed opportunity there. And, trial ended, kind of early. They said they were out of witnesses for the day. So that means they were probably juggling different schedules, which happens all the time, especially with the number of witnesses that are being presented in this case versus the other case. This trial is likely to take longer because I think they actually put 4 additional people on the witness list. Particularly, I don't recall the principal testifying in Jennifer Crumbley's trial, whereas the principal testified in James Crumbley's trial. And, they ended with her. And they ended with a direct examination of her. And I was trying to ascertain, okay, like, what is she really adding to this outside of potentially emotional response? Because her testimony elicited was essentially, she's the one that saw Ethan. She's the one that saw the shooter, rather. She's the one that saw him go into a particular restroom. Okay, there we go. I think that's why they had her testify. Because the restroom that he was identified coming out of was a restroom where the body of one of the other children that was killed was found. The principal didn't know that at the time, but she identified that bathroom in its location to the young man that had been shot and was on the ground, and that she was providing emergency care to, essentially. And she said she essentially continued going until they stopped her to get his body. And, as I was watching this, I was thinking to myself, one, how absolutely courageous it was for this principal. Absolutely courageous. I would be proud to have her principal of any of my schools, because even though she made sure kids got to safety and lockdown, she did not lock down herself, even though that was her protocol. Her determination was to make sure that the children she's seen in the hallway had gotten to safety, and then went towards the gunshots. Like, I don't think people really understand the capacity and strength, the inner strength it takes for someone to have that fight or flight instinct And instead of fleeing, she essentially shows fight. And it wasn't even fight for herself. It was fight for the other people's babies that were in this building. And I can't help but to think of the emotional response that this will trigger from the jury. Yes, they are to be impartial. Yes, they are to be unbiased. But they are still not in a bubble. They have emotions. They have thoughts. They have feelings. You know, they're looking at all of the facts. And they're also empathizing. I believe that they're going to empathize with this teacher. And I think her testimony, very compelling, powerful testimony. Because not only did she walk towards the danger of hearing the shots, but she saw him with the firearm and tried to talk to him. She tried to be there for him. Which is something that this young man wholly needed in his life, clearly. And it is, I think, a testament to compassion, possibly. Now, I'm speculating here myself. You know, no one can put themselves in the mind of this young man. But I think the compassion she was exhibiting and not fear is why she didn't get harmed. That's just my opinion. But I'm really interested to see where the next round of witnesses of who will be called on Monday and how that's going to go, and how those things are going to play up. I'm really interested in seeing the arguments that are going to be not the arguments, but the testimony that's going to be elicited, and what witnesses, what order they're going to go for these witnesses. You know, and I'll say, you know, I'm kind of intrigued by the placement of the witnesses, you know, how the story is being told, but also understanding that sometimes, due to witnesses' schedules, they are probably trying to play Tetris. And yes, I know I'm older, so some of you guys may not know what Tetris is if you're watching this. My millennials, we know what Tetris is, and it seems like they're playing Tetris. It's like playing Tetris with witnesses and schedules. For you young guys, I don't know. Candy Crush? I've never played it, but I've seen the ads. I think it's kind of the same, maybe. But I'm really trying to follow the story they're telling. What order and direction they're telling it. Because, you know, I honestly would have been surprised to have Sergeant Bryant testify already with the video. I would have expected him a little bit later because he's afterwards. He can't give context of the active shooter event. And so I wouldn't have been surprised by the teacher and then a student and then the principal and etc. Like people that were actively present at the time, the counselor in the school. But schedules are schedules. So we shall see, guys. So I'm about to pick my girls up from softball. I hope you guys have a good day. I hope you enjoy my opinion and take on this. And if you got any questions about the criminal process or about this case, I will do my best to answer them for you. So you guys have a great day. Talk to you later. I do.